Welcome to Song Tripping. I'm Jim, and I'm joined by my friend Ken. Ken, hello.
Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Great. And we're going to talk records today. There's a record store I really like in Delaware, in suburban Wilmington. It's called Jupiter Records. It's become my favorite record store locally. And they have all kinds of cool stuff in there. And the other thing I really like about this store, it's in an old house, and the house has a front porch, and they put records on the front porch, and all the records on the porch are free. So you could just go and pick through the stacks and take home some free albums. So the last time I was there, I had some store credit and I bought an album or two in the store, and then on the way out I found a lot of interesting stuff. It's fun to see what people are giving away. And then I went home and I cleaned the records. So they look, a lot of these records seem beat up, but you'd be surprised how they sound after you clean them. And pretty much all these records sounded like decent to very good. And I'm going to switch cameras here and show you the first album from my freebie collections. And Ken, you can comment on these. This one's called 20 All-Time Number One Hits. It's a compilation on the Roulette label.
Roulette was run by, his name was Morris, or more commonly called Mo Levy. And he had very, shall we say, strong connections with the mob. And this is clearly, to me, looks like kind of a roulette cash-in record. First of all, your first clue is the number 20. That means 10 songs on a side. What kind of fidelity are you going to get when you have 10 songs pressed together on a side? This is like some of the old radio stations would have albums that they would put a whole bunch of songs together, and often what they would do is like delete parts of the songs so that they could fit, you know, so many of those tracks onto the particular album. So buyer beware in some ways that you may not be getting the exact copy or the best kind of copy of those songs that you might have picked up the album for.
And it was one of these electronically rechanneled for stereo records. So they're taking the monos and making fake stereo out of it. So that didn't help. The album doesn't sound that good. It was probably, of all the freebies I got, it was in the worst condition. And my wife and I listened to it, and there were a lot of like pretty bad songs on here that you wouldn't want to listen to again. There's some great stuff on there too, but this is not a keeper. It's already in the discard pile. So I will pass it on to someone else.
It was just on a porch. You don't have to.
Yeah. This album by Maynard Ferguson called Chameleon, I absolutely loved, and it sounds fantastic. So Maynard Ferguson is sort of a jazz big band artist. He died a number of years ago. Amazing trumpet player. He could hit all the high notes, higher than anyone else that I'm aware of. And boy, is this a nice album. It's I don't know, Ken, if you're a much of a jazz fan or if you're familiar with Maynard Ferguson, but if this is one of the best records by him that I've ever heard. So definitely a keeper. Next is an album that we've been chatting about by email, Barbara Jones Streisand.
Yeah, I like this album because of the cover she does of John Lennon's Mother. I mean, I like other songs on it too, but that is such a knockout. It's not to be believed.
It's amazing. It's an amazing, that cover is amazing. And did you know Rolling Stone panned this album when it came out?
That's always recommends the record highly. If that horrible, stupid magazine doesn't like it, I know immediately I'm probably going to like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you about Rolling Stone. Like, they are not to be trusted and never have been. And it's like they always get it wrong. But
all I know is I could, you know, I'll trust Barbara Streisand over Jan Wenner.
But she does this one interesting medley of One Less Bell to Answer and A House Is Not a Home, the Backrack David tunes, and the way those songs cross over into one another, like, just kind of mind blowing. But the Lennon songs, she does Mother, and Love by John Lennon. Both of those are like excellent, and the cover of Mother is really mind blowing.
Yeah, that alone is worth the price of admission right there.
This is a compilation, a 2 LP compilation of 70s love songs, and it was in pretty much perfect condition. I don't know if anyone had ever listened to it. Remember, all these are free albums. Let me share with you some of the tracks on it. I'm going to pull this up on Discogs. A lot of famous stuff here. Starts with a Holly song, He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother. Temptations, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Without You, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, The Most Beautiful Girl by Charlie Rich, and on and on and on. So it was a good sounding album. I like that they put this Jennifer Warren's song, Right Time of the Night, on there. And it's a nostalgia trip for sure.
Well, I don't think I'd be interested in it, but if you didn't have many of the biggest hits from the 1970s and you wanted them, this would be a good introductory record to have.
This one, I think you do like, right? A Natural Woman by Peggy Lee.
Oh yes, but I'm a big fan.
And I was pleasantly surprised by how good this one was. Not that I don't expect Peggy Lee to be good, I do, but she's doing more contemporary material on this one. And she does Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman, Everyday People, the Sly and Family Stones, Spinning Wheel, Blood, Sweat and Tears song. And she does a killer cover. Hey, cat. Okay. Cameo by our cat named Hawk. She does a killer cover of I Think It's Gonna Rain Today by Randy Newman. Do you have any favorite tracks on this one?
Probably the one, All of a Sudden My Heart Sings.
Yes.
That's a classic. I mean, lots of people have recorded that. I think she does a particularly nice version of it. But it's a very easy to listen to album, you know. I mean, if you just want to kind of have late afternoon and you don't have much to do, good album to kick off your shoes and just enjoy.
Yeah, it's a keeper for sure. This one I like too, George Benson, Breezin'. There's another YouTuber, this guy who has a record store in Phoenix called, I think his channel is called The In Groove. His name's Mike, and he just bought George Benson's record collection. So George Benson lives in Phoenix, and so this guy was taking you through George Benson. He had lots of stories to tell about meeting George and so forth. And this, I guess arguably was his biggest album and biggest song, Breezin'. And this takes me back to the 70s.
I don't know his music that well.
You would recognize the song Breezin'. Like it was all over like radio commercials. It's just sort of that smooth jazz vibe. This is an artist I didn't know much about, but I'm kind of think you do know. The name was familiar, so when I saw this in the freebie bin, I was like, I gotta get it. It's on the Jamie label, which was, I believe, a Philadelphia label, right?
Well, he was British, and this song, The Pied Piper, was very, very big, top 10 in the summer of 1966. There was another group called the Change in Times that also recorded a more Dylan-like kind of version of it that didn't do nearly as well. Everyone remembers the Crispy and St. Peter's version. He had a folk feel to some of the stuff that he did as well. He did a version of You Were on My Mind, which had been a big hit by the We Five.
That's on this album.
Yeah, and in fact, that became a single in the United States in 1967, which briefly brought him back to the charts. He didn't have many chart records in the United States, but that was one.
He's a little bit all over the place. Like some of the songs have a pop rock flavor. Some of the songs he's crooning. He reminds me a little bit of Elvis. and sort of a throwback to like 50s Elvis, and then some are more folky. It's a interesting. It held my interest through the whole album, so that's a keeper too.
Yeah, I like that album. Yeah.
Would you pick it up for free? Of course you would, right?
Pick up almost anything for free.
I'm always a sucker for compilations, and this is just lots of big songs from the 60s, a couple Turtle songs on there. Some of the songs I think they cut short, like they have like fast fade outs. I
just
hate when
hate
they do that.
It drives me nuts.
Yeah, but I like the Del Shannon song, Hats Off to Larry. You've got a couple Lloyd Prices, like probably his two biggest songs. And then it turned out I already had this one, the Kingsman Volume 3. So I'm gonna give this away. What do you know about the Kingsman?
Well, obviously the main thing that almost everyone who knows the Kingsman at all knows, Louie Louie, which was such an enormous record and became kind of a garage classic, definitive that way. But they continued to put out stuff. Pacific Northwest group.
What I don't like about this album is it's like a fake live album.
Oh, that's always lame when they do that. That never helps.
And that does it for my freebie LP albums. But all these were kind of fun to listen to. Some of them I'm giving away, and some I've added to the collection. Ken, do you have any recent discoveries to share with us?
Well, I do, but they're not albums; they're CDs.
I'm all into CDs too.
All right, and I can at least hold them up to the camera so you can see if I can get it in the right there.
Yeah, right. Mitch Ryder.
Yeah, and the album or the CD is called "Sockin' It to You," and it's the complete Dinah Voice recordings. So you've got like 5 albums on here, plus a lot of B-sides, A-sides that weren't on albums. So a really important part of his career, and I'm really glad to have picked this up. I had a lot of it on various other kinds of things, but to have a nice compilation like this, I was really glad to get. Kind of Blue-Eyed Soul. Although he could growl with the best of them, Mitch Ryder, right?
He from Detroit. I want to say he's like a Michigan artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was an interesting scene they had in Michigan, in the rock world. What else? Where did you find that one? Mitch Ryder.
I don't remember how I came across it, and I don't even remember if I got that through Amazon or if I got that through one of my other. What's the label on this?
And it's a new release?
Recent.
Okay.
Oh, it's on RPM. And that's another one I like to check them out as well. That they often have older material that they bring back, and they do a really nice job on it there as well.
Nice.
The next one I have here is, if I hold that up, The Searchers. And this is called When You Walk in the Room, the complete Pie recordings, 1963 to 1967, which is kind of the high watermark of their earlier sound. They did continue. It's funny, even, in the late 70s, they put out records and they tried to recast themselves as kind of a new wave group, this group that goes back. It's not bad, but this is The Searchers I really like, is this period. But, you've got each of the albums that they did for Pie, and then a lot of bonus tracks, the alternate versions, B-sides, things like that. So it's if you like The Searchers, you got a lot of Searchers on here, but that's kind of okay by me.
Cool. Anything else, or is that?
I got 2 more.
Oh, great! Awesome. Let's see them.
Let me hold this up. You're getting the light from my window that breaks.
It's kind of like a film noir effect. Like
So I better read the title, especially because it's kind of purplish letters against this deep gray purple. It's hard to read. but the group is the Sweet Inspirations. And this is the Atlantic Recordings, 1967 to 1970, Let It Be Me. And the Sweet Inspirations recorded background for a whole lot of other artists. The group membership kind of changed every now and then. They did have one big hit on their own, one top 20 nationwide, called Sweet Inspiration. They often did some notable covers of songs by other writers. And I was interested in it just because I know their vocals, and I thought, you know, I'd like to have a nice minty CD copy of that period of their career. And then one more, and this arrived 2 days ago. So this is brand new, that I was really happy to be able to pick this up here. Let me hold it up. The Beau Brummels. And this is,
looks like a big fat box.
oh my God, it's called Turn Around, the complete recordings, everything, 1964 to 1970. And I have these little, you know, 18 trackish kind of, you know, anthologies, and I thought this won't do it all. One of the things I love about I haven't played it all yet. I've just barely dug into it since I just got this. But they also have like things that were 45s by various group members. So they include that, and some of those are rare as hen's teeth. They're hard to find. I have one Sal Valentino 45 that has a big skip in it. Well, finally, this is going to rectify that, you know. So I thought, yeah, it's worth it to me to be able to have this. That group was, I think, very important for the early San Francisco sound of the mid 60s, before you go into the Jefferson Airplane and the psychedelic stuff that followed in their wake. But an important group that way, and glad to have picked this up.
Looks great. Those are great finds.
Well, the Beau Brummels, it cost me a little money, but you know, when it says complete, and it hopefully, if it's done with respect for the records and for the music, sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and say, this is a permanent addition to my life and my collection, and you know, I'm gonna bite the bullet and get it.
Great. I have a couple more CD acquisitions to share because, to be honest, I'm buying more CDs than vinyl. I'm pretty much played out with vinyl. I have almost everything I want, but if you throw some free records my way, I'm like, what do you have to lose, right? It's kind of fun. But I do actively seek out like bargains for CDs and occasionally buy new stuff too. So a couple thrift store finds to share. This one, I'll just try to hold these up. This is Led Zeppelin's first album, and it's I already had this, but I have I think the original CD release of it. This is the remastered version, digitally remastered by Jimmy Page and George Marino at Sterling Sound. A little story behind this is I had a friend at a job I had back in the early 2000s and or late 90s, and he had recently bought all the Led Zeppelin remasters. I think there was a box that came out. Maybe you could get them all in one package. I forget. But he gave me his original Led Zeppelin CDs, almost all of them. And so that's what I typically listen to. But this remaster I listened to, and to be honest, I thought it sounded kind of loud and harsh. And I'm going to have to compare it to my original CD version, which I think I might like better. But I don't know if you have heard this album, Ken, before.
Well, the only Led Zeppelin I have is the box, and
What's in the box though? Is it
well,
everything?
the box is it's a potpourri of different tracks from different albums.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's what you're talking about, where whole albums are put on there. But yeah, I thought for the different parts of their career, and I got it, relatively speaking, on the cheap. You know, I think I paid like $35 for it. Usually it goes for much more than that. So I thought, well, for the songs I like, I'm gonna bite.
Yeah, it's a kind of a hard-edged album. Like, it's to listen to it. I mean, they are a hard rock band, and you have to be in the mood for it. And there's an edge to their sound. But one thing I love about Led Zeppelin is just the synergy, like the way those guys, the chemistry between them is undeniable. They were a great band that way. My last selection is, I was really happy to find this Leslie Gore compilation. Is this an album you have, Ken?
It's an album I had. Hang on 1 second and I'll show you why.
Features It's My Party, Judy's Turn to Cry, Just Let Me Cry, She's a Fool, and so forth. Oh, what is this?
This box replaced that record. This is all of the Mercury recordings that she did, you know.
That is massive.
And there's Dear Les sitting there right there. And there's a picture on the back. You won't be able to see it with the light coming in, but there's Leslie Gore and her dog.
Is this vinyl or
oh no, CD? This is a CD. Yeah, when this came out, I thought I have to have this. So yeah, I will never run out of Leslie Gore. Some of the later stuff now finally has come out on CD. I waited a very long time, but she went on to some other labels after her big hit years when she was doing the kind of stuff that's on your CD right there.
But this album sounds really good, and it was mastered by a guy named Dennis Drake. Whenever I see an album that's mastered by Dennis Drake, it's probably going to sound pretty good. Like, he's a name that I kind of keep an eye out for. And you think Leslie Gore, it's just all about It's My Party, because that was her biggest song. But I love this album, like all the way through. Like the songs, like, and then like the song Judy's Turn to Cry, is that like literally a sequel to It's My Party?
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Judy gets what's coming to her in that song.
So yeah, it's thoroughly enjoyable, and it really sounded great. And I'm really happy you got that huge box by her.
Oh,
that's exciting.
Yes, I'm very, very, yeah, it's a staple in my collection.
So that's going to do it for our little roundup here. And it was fun to find those free albums. And Ken, if you want any of my discards, you're happy to have them. But otherwise, I'm going to take them back to Goodwill or Salvation Army. And
I don't know that I need them right now. I've got so much Beau Brummels to listen to. That'll get me into maybe 2023.
Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in. And if you like the video, hit the like button. You can subscribe to the channel, and I hope to be putting up more videos soon. Thanks, everybody.